Hey, friend. Welcome to the Grief to Great Day podcast. Do you feel like you're going crazy? Is the shower the only place for you to really cry? Are you surrounded by people, but you still feel all alone? Do you want to be the you were before your loved one died, but you have no idea how to get there? I'm Steph Cabanis, Southern by choice, wife, turtle triathlete, Jesus follower, and fellow traveler in the journey of grief. I too struggled to breathe, questioned God and my faith, and thought I would never be happy again. But God took my brokenness and He turned it into a breakthrough. So if you're ready to understand how to navigate grief, lean into your faith and take just one step towards healing, then bring your ugly cry, get into a comfortable place, even if that's your bed right now, and let the healing begin. Girl, there's hope for your future.
This week, we're going to talk about living after loss. The statement sounds non emotional and doable until you're the one experiencing the loss, the life changing loss of someone you dearly loved, someone who was an intricate part of your daily life. So, we're talking about actually wanting to live after the life altering loss. And I'll start with these two statements to lay a foundation for our talk. Number one, life will not always be like this. I say it over and over because you need to hear it over and over. It does not feel like life could ever get better, but I promise you, you can heal and thrive. Number two, you have to take action in order for healing to occur. People ask me about time healing all wounds, and that's simply not the truth. If you laid in your bed or on the couch, if you never left the house after your loved one died, do you think you would heal from your loss? If you did that, you would probably get stuck in your grief, and that is not what God wants for you. So let's get started and remember to refer back to my first two statements. Life will not always be like it is today, but you do have to take action if you want to heal instead of getting stuck. The biggest question is always when will it stop hurting like this? And the answer I have is not especially comforting, but at least it is the truth. I don't know when, but I promise it will. This journey you never asked to be on is your journey, and it's very individual. In other words, because there is only one of you in this world, and isn't that amazing? You can't compare or have expectations around what others go through or what they do. The personal nature of grief is why it is one of the most sacred walks you'll ever take, because you will depend on God with an urgency and a need like never before. You will understand what the Israelites felt like by just getting enough manna for the day, because He will provide for you each day, but you can't get more or you can't rush the process because it's uncomfortable and painful. I'm pretty practical, and when it comes to getting through the day of grief, I can offer ideas to help, and I hope I have offered a few over the last few years. But when it comes to not caring about life in the midst of grief, I want to also share some practical ideas to help you through the day. Beyond these ideas, please seek God first and foremost. That's the answer. He will bring to your mind what you need to do in the darkest moments that you never could have thought of. He'll speak to you through someone else or in a song that keeps repeating on the radio. He'll bring love to your life in the moment you need to feel loved. He's always going to be the answer to every question, even if you feel distant from Him right now. So, to share the practical stuff, I'll kind of want to break it up into different stages or phases of your journey because your actions will be different and they'll change over time. So, an easy way to look at it is to break it up into breathe, laugh, and live again. That's kind of like the tagline for Grief to Great Day. It is Christian grief support for women to breathe, to laugh, and to live again. So, the breathe stage. If you are hardly able to breathe right now and just beginning your grief journey, the rawness of it is visceral, and your entire body is involved in this process. There's a lot of physical, emotional, spiritual processing that's taking place. And this is going to look like you getting sick a lot or feeling chest pain, shortness of breath, brain fog, or continuous forgetfulness. This kind of stuff, it adds to you feeling like you're going crazy. Oh, and as a caveat, if you are concerned about chest pain or shortness of breath, you need to seek medical attention to make sure there's not a heart issue going on because it does happen quite often when you first walk through grief, especially if you have lost your husband. Now, the best thing you can do right now to walk toward healing is to step back from how you used to live life. Now, if you have to work, you'll need to decide when to go back to work. And you may not have a big choice in when, but you can't live life as it was before. The practical things you need most right now, beyond your connection with the Lord, are grace, rest, and boundaries. Give yourself a ridiculous amount of grace. If the thought comes to your mind that you're being lazy or selfish, you're doing good. When we aren't doing, women especially, we always think we're being lazy. When we do anything for ourselves, we always think we're being selfish. So if you feel either of those things, then you're taking good action. Also, rest, rest, rest. Grief is going to wear you out. If you can't sleep well at night, then make sure you're taking naps when you're able. And make sure, here comes the boundary part, make sure you say no when you don't want to do a thing. It can be at work or church or friends who are just trying to be helpful. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just be honest and don't feel guilty. So, in general, if you are in the trying to breathe stage, give yourself a lot of grace. Always err on the side of resting and saying no. Next, the laugh stage. If you aren't getting frequent colds and you can breathe more normally, now you may feel a little guilty about feeling better. You may want to feel better more than anything else, but when you do, when you actually laugh again for the first time, there's this weird guilt and a feeling of leaving who you loved behind. You may laugh for the first time and then immediately cry because you were able to laugh. This is a big moment. I remember when I did it, when I really laughed, and it almost took my breath away because I was really laughing. And then it hit me, I shouldn't be laughing. And this is not uncommon, but it is really a big moment. So embrace this change and be open to the idea that it may happen again. The laugh stage is a confusing balancing act. You're still going to be tired a lot, but if you always give in, you'll never move forward. So allow yourself to rest a lot, but now start to push yourself a little. Allow yourself to laugh and to cry if you laugh. Allow yourself to think about the day you won't cry with anticipation because it will come. Keep taking naps if you can't sleep at night. Keep on giving yourself a lot of grace. But now, push to go out with a friend here and there. Push yourself to do the things you would absolutely not have thought about doing before. Maybe like a trip to the grocery store or going back to church. Now, remember, when you do these things, you can make it different. You can, let's say if you're going back to church, you can sit in the back and have an escape plan just in case. but start doing these things here and there. You can join a grief group in person or online, seek out additional help if you need it. Another good thing would be to find a Bible study on the things you may be struggling with. I struggled with a lot of things, so I had a lot of things to choose from. I struggled with faith, with the promise of healing, with God's sovereignty, of what heaven was, among a lot of other things. So I would search out Bible studies on these things. I was really trying to prove God wrong, but He used that rebellion to keep me close to Him and to heal my heart. So, in the laugh stage, err on the side of resting, but with an occasional push to do the hard things. Lastly, the live again stage. Oh, the live again stage. This is not the stage where everything is a okay because nothing is ever going to be the same again. In the breathe and the laugh stages, there's probably not going to be a desire to have a life other than the one you had. There's not going to be a desire to move forward in your own life. It'll feel more like surviving and getting through the day. That's normal, and it's an important part of the journey toward caring about your life after loss. So don't put added pressure on yourself about where you should be in your journey by now. And by now, it could be 9 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years. There's no timeline on your journey. In the live again stage, you're going to be shocked that yesterday was a good day and then today sucks. You'll wonder why it's still like a roller coaster. You'll be slammed by another wave of grief from a milestone or a minefield, and you'll feel like you're starting all over again. Again. The difference here is you're a little bit stronger now. So the waves slam against you, and you get up a little easier than before. The greatest change here is that you have glimpses of maybe I can be happy. You'll also have glimpses of desiring purpose like never before. You don't go through grief and stay the same. It's just not possible. You are forever changed. And some of those changes include desire for meaning in relationships, in your calling, and in life. This is another big moment for you. Don't be overwhelmed that you don't know how to proceed or what to do or how to find what your purpose is. Your identity, it's not the same as it was before. So how can your life be? In this stage, take time to be still and listen for God's leading. He has brought you this far, so He will make it clear in time. Enjoy the days you don't cry all the time. Reflect on how far you have come. Love on others who may be starting their journey, and just keep taking one step, one action at a time. You can explore passions now that have been in your heart for decades. Maybe it's photography or fitness or leading Bible studies. Maybe it's taking a class at the community college that sounds interesting. See, push beyond your comfort and explore these things without expectations or goals. Just explore to explore. So, in the live again stage, err on the side of committing to push and still resting when needed. I want to recap these as simply as possible, and I think a good way to do it is when you text or email and you use capital letters to accentuate something, it's almost like you're yelling. Well, that's how we'll do the recap. In the I can't hardly breathe stage, at the very beginning of your grief walk, grace, rest, and boundaries, they're in capital letters. In the oh my gosh, I just laughed phase, err on the side of continuing the grace, rest, and boundaries in capital letters, but also push once in a while. Go beyond the things you said you weren't ready for before. Grace, rest, and boundaries, capital letters, but now pushing is added, but it's in small letters. In the live again stage, you're committing to push. You're exploring passions that you have or once had, and you are getting glimpses of something different for your future. In this stage, grace, rest, and boundaries, they are now in small letters. And push beyond comfort, that's in capital letters. In every stage of grief, gratitude for what you had and what you still have will help your mind not drown in thinking only of what you have lost. Y'all remember, and this may sting because there's finality in these words, but your loved one's journey is finished. However, if you are listening to my words and you are still breathing, your journey is not done. You don't have to feel guilt about that. It was not and never will be up to you. The word of the week is 2 Corinthians 1 3 through 4. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. The grief group for Christian women, the private Facebook group, will be open through March. So it makes it important for you to still join if you haven't, because I'm going to share all the changes for Grief to Great Day and how to join the new Lighthouse community in that group. Thank you for being here, for showing up for your healing, and for allowing me to walk alongside you in this journey. If you don't have a church home, visit my church open door, church.com. Links to everything you need are always on the website, grieftogreatday.com, and in the show notes. You're not alone. This is not your forever, and God still has plans for you. Keep coming back to the house, keep sitting on the couch, and keep taking action toward healing.
Thank you for being here today, for showing up. If this podcast has given you hope, encouragement, or helped you in any way, share it with a friend, either in a text or on your social platforms. Also, please subscribe, rate, and leave a written review on iTunes. It's a huge blessing for me to know that you're out there. Lastly, and this is important, you are not alone. Connect with me on the Grief to Great Day website, the link is below, and sign up for our free newsletters. I want to be able to pray for you by name. Remember, grief isn't something you're going to get over, but a great day is something you can get to.